bring this show on the
We're-
road. Let's bring these.
Yeah, we're live, dude. I sprung that one on you.
Oh, we are live? Okay, I wasn't paying attention to you, so I was doing something else. I had a request from a person who wants to know something about Frog Guy Games. I was working.
You were multitasking. I know.
I can't multitask. I'm too old to multitask.
Yeah, and see, and we won't even edit this in like the post because I don't do editing because it just takes too much work.
That's
Folks,
the best part.
Welcome to the TotalCon special, Talking Crit, Iron Rations, Dungeons, Dragons, and Discourse. You've got all your hosts, and you have the main folks from TotalCon, Angelia and Stephen. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for allowing us to participate in TotalCon when normally I'd be driving up there. And Rach is very disappointed we couldn't go this year.
Yeah, thank you. Probably got some.
I couldn't go this year.
You'd have a while to go from Oklahoma, Glenn. We understand that. Yep. But it would be a long drive. But for me, it's a long drive, but I can do it, and we don't have to fly. We fly to the rest of our cons. So TotalCon's the con I can buy a lot of shit at, and or be sent home with a lot of stuff by Bill Webb and Zach Glazer when they buy a lot of stuff and can't take it home.
They cheat, but they cheat. They pay for the privilege to buy stuff.
I'm not rationed to go to TotalCon. That's beyond my ration.
Yeah,
it's a good con. It's got a very homey feel. You feel some. It's big enough. There's a lot of stuff to do, but it's not so big that you are stumbling over people or stumbling into people, depending on your sobriety.
Right.
But
it sounds like a Texas con I know of.
Yeah, a little bit like North Texas. It's got a similar atmosphere. It's got a similar friendliness.
Except they've been around 3 times as long as we have, but twice as long, I guess, at this point. Because this is your 35, which is ridiculous. That's crazy.
I didn't know that.
Well, that's your fault, Mike.
Awesome.
I didn't start it when I was.
It's a new convention, 35 years now. Yeah, I've been on staff for 25 of it.
Wow.
We launched number 2, and I offered to help out one day, and then now I'm 25 years later. I offered to help. It's like, what a big mouth I have.
Now it's your
17 years in.
Wow, now it's your bag of poop. I mean, if something goes wrong, people are going to remember you, and if everything goes right, people are just like, yeah, I had a great time at the con. And who helped?
Right.
Who made it happen?
Angela.
But when something goes wrong, then they know who to blame. That's usually I always blame Bad Mike, but nothing really goes wrong at North Texas.
Well, can I tell a quick story about TotalCon? I'm going to tell a real quick story about what TotalCon means to North Texas, just real quick, so I can get out of the way because I'll forget it otherwise. So when Doug and I were first looking at starting a con back in 2008 or 9, I can't remember anymore. It's been so long. I was looking for cons with old school game tracks because at the time we wanted to do an old school con because nobody was doing old school gaming. It was all third edition, but third edition was huge back then. That was the third edition Pathfinder days. And I looked at every con running in the United States, and except for the big ones like Gen Con and Dragon Con, the only con with what I would call an old school track was TotalCon, because y'all had Frank Mentzer in, and Frank Mentzer was running first edition games there.
Yep.
And so I stumbled on your site, and I liked the way you did things so much that we basically copied everything you did. We just started looking. We looked at how you wrote up guest bios, and we looked at how you wrote up games, and so we pretty much just photocopied the TotalCon website to copy for North Texas. So y'all were a huge inspiration from us in that regard, because you were the only people running old school games. And I'm absolutely serious about this. I looked at pretty much every con in States, and now, of course, the same year we started, Gary Con started, and then a couple years later, Gamehole. And now the OSR is much, much bigger than it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was so cool that I saw that, and like I said, we owe a lot to TotalCon because we just said, okay, well, let's just copy they look like they know what they're doing. They've been around 25 years or 20 something years. Let's just copy the way they do things.
Yeah, don't worry, we copied from somebody else too, right? So I took a little bit of stuff from Gen Con. We took a little bit of stuff from this person, that person. Well, what works for us, what works for us. And then we took input from Frank too. Frank's like, you know what, you really should bundle it up and call it old school Renaissance or old school games or and he made sense, and it just took off from there. And we said, okay, everybody's running stuff from this edition, we'll just bundle into this one little package area and call it old school. And you're right. And suddenly we had a bunch of people we never had before show up. And it's like, there's some interest in this, I guess. And then
because there wasn't anybody running those games except, like I said, except for Gen Con and Dragon, or the bigger cons. They're really, people don't realize how huge an effect 3E had on everything. I mean, it was the 5E of its day. Everything else was pushed aside, and it was like, okay, here's what everybody's playing is 3E. It was really hard to find an old school game, either first or second edition or OD&D. So that was really cool that y'all actually took the time to say, hey, let's have some old school games and have Frank there and then I think it was a couple years later, Zach went to y'all's con because he was just trying out cons. And I think the same year he went to Gary Con, he also went to North Texas. Yep. So that would have been our third or fourth year. And he was saying, yeah, they have like an old school track just like you guys do, because at that point I think you had a few more people running old school games.
Yeah, we had Tim Cass come in and some others. So,
yep, Mike came in, did a bunch of stuff.
Mike Pondsmith, yeah.
Oh, Mike Pondsmith.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Stuff.
Well, last year was the first time I'd been there ever. It was my first really big con. I've been to a couple smaller ones, the Shire Con in Connecticut, and then there's one in Stanford they were doing, Anacon. And I was like, let me go to a big one. And Frank Menser, to me, was a big draw. I like his Curmudgeon in the Cellar, podcast there he does. And
that's Tim.
That's Tim.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Tim Cask. Yeah. So I like, that's why I wanted to go there with Tim Cask, and it's like this guy, I want to play in a game that he would do to play with Gygax. You know what I mean? So that was the big thing with it. I got to do it. And I made him laugh. And he says there's nobody. Gygax used to try to get him to laugh at puns, and he says I didn't laugh at them. I don't laugh at puns. I'm like, all right. So I said to him, all right, we're playing a game, and there's this statue of a pig in an area, and I'm playing. And I said, all right, hey, I have a blanket, a bedroll, right? He goes, yeah. So I want to wrap the pig up because it's naked. He just like looked at me, give me the double bird, like, you son of a bitch, and made me laugh. So yeah, that was a big draw for me, is the old school guys, the old school environment. I mean, it was just, and it's so close to home. I'm in Connecticut, I'm down there in the Haven, so it was like perfect, man.
Yeah,
and everybody, you're right. It's a great vibe there. It's small enough and big enough, all at the same time. It's fantastic. It really is.
Well, that's part of the secret there too. You're small enough and big enough. You've kind of hit that sweet spot. If you got much larger, I don't know if you could fit into your venue, but but you've got that right number where the tables are full, the players are happy, and nobody is getting mad at each other for not having enough space. I mean, Gary Con. You can get. I'm a New Yorker, and I get claustrophobic at Gary Con at certain times because everybody's moving, and you're like, "This is worse than the subway system." It's like, ugh.
I'll tell you, TotalCon, there's so much going on that we don't know about. There are people who show up people in the industry all over the place. Local guys who are in the industry, and Frank, Tim, and other people from Bill and the other guys, and they just meet with everybody. It's not like the thing where you can only go see them if you're playing this game, or you can only go see them if you're playing that game. No, they just melted in with everybody else, and they're playing with everybody and have a good old time. So there's people in the bar talking about making deals for miniature painting and artwork and stuff for different books that people are printing and getting going, and all these things are going on. And it's like, I get out after we're done and we get these emails. Oh, thanks, I hooked up. I made $1,000 deal doing this. Like, I don't know this crap is going on at the convention. I set up to play some games, and everybody's making business deals here now. So it's like,
What's y'all's annual attendance usually run?
Right now, it's about 15.
That's a good number. That's We decided to keep North Texas at 500, but I know that Gary Con's about 3 now, and Gamehole is about 5, I believe. But their Gamehole is pretty big. They have a convention center, but I think that sweet spot. And Eric and I talk about this all the time on our show about how, for at least for us, our interest has moved to smaller cons rather than the big giant, Gen Con and Dragon Con gangbang. I mean, just a million people shoved in into these tiny rooms. And now with COVID, we talk a lot about how the future of conventions is going to look once, with post COVID. And, that's a tough sell now, because Eric and I, we both can't attend a big con like that because, health reasons. But, places like TotalCon and Gary Con and North Texas and Gamehole are just exactly the right size for being, like I said, big enough, but not too big. You won't be able to get lost there, but it's not necessarily, so tiny that you don't have enough games to play.
Right.
Yeah. And to me, it was always, we're almost like a gaming fan con for gaming fans, because that's what we are. That's why we pull in the guys we pull in. We're happy with our numbers. It's more for fun and just having a good time.
Yeah, because nobody gets it. People that don't run cons don't understand this, but we do. Nobody makes money off game cons. No. I mean, I guess you do if you get about 10,000 people and you start add the numbers up. Okay, yeah, $60 a piece is that. I mean, I'm sure Dragon Con and Gen Con make money, but yeah, you have to do this for love of the game. You really
absolutely
do. It's not a path to riches by any means whatsoever.
No. 2 months of our lives is gone every year for planning. Not so much this year because you would have the logistics issues that we normally would have. But
sure,
you spend 2 months, reviewing people's events, getting the books created, getting the books printed, getting the T-shirts printed, make sure all the stuff's in a row. Going to the hotel for contracts. Going to the hotel to I make room. I have maps of every room at that show. Every room has a layout of how I want it when we show up on site, that thing is set up the way we want it. Because if you tell them I need 10 tables in this room, they'll dump 10 tables in a room and leave them there and walk away. I have maps of this is where we want the tables, the configuration. All that logistics has to be done up front. Otherwise, you're there on Wednesday and Thursday, people walking in, and you're trying to rearrange tables. It's like, I haven't got time for that. We got a show to run. People want to play games. Let's just go. So
I'm not going to say which con we had that issue at, but we had a con that we had an issue with that.
Oh,
and
yeah, we did. That's true.
Not just with the vending table, but with the gaming table for the
we can't
the Mouth of Doom 3D. It's like there's no table and no chairs.
Yeah, right.
But the spot, I know exactly where I'm supposed to be, and I can't set this damn thing up. It's going to take hours on by itself. Until I have a table. And then I got a table, and I still had no chairs. And it sucks when you have to steal chairs. And I stole chairs.
Because the last guy there is going to have no chairs. Whoever gets there last is screwed.
Right.
It seems anal, but, nowadays, I'm sure all of you guys, everyone has the something, I need a laptop, I need power, right? I'm going to do a presentation, I need to project on the wall. I need, you have all those things that go on. And so you can make sure whatever table you put the person on, they can be next to a wall socket. I have the wall sockets mapped on the map. As dumb as anal as it seems, it's like people call it, I need a private room. I need wall sockets. I need projection space. I need a double table. I need to have handicap access. And all those things like, okay, we can move you to here. We can move you. The hotel loves me because I give them maps and they're like, perfect. And I go in there, I even tell them tablecloth covers. Because in the board game area, you've got tournament scheduled. Board games, you have open board gaming. Open board gaming is on white tables. Scheduled gaming is on black tablecloth. If you give it to them, the hotel is usually like, they don't care. They don't want to play around with it either. So all these little logistic things, we spend months setting that up and getting that all straightened out. And so when everybody gets there, it's ready to play. Go.
Well, we talked about this before the show, but it's worth repeating. Y'all had said that you have not had any issues so far with the online transition to online, so everything seems to be going along pretty good. I take it.
If anything, it's boring. Just sitting there behind a text field waiting for somebody to ask you a question.
No, we had to learn from somebody else's show because, like you had said, we ended 2 weeks before the real big COVID really hit. So we were like the last convention almost anywhere that ran. And then Gary Con, God bless him. Like you said, I don't know how they put that together or they got that going. But everybody else's mistakes and everybody else's issues they had, we learned from. So when we got to this point, we're like, we had people who already ran small things. So we set up our server and there was nothing.
Well, I'll tell you the truth. I went to Gen Con online to check everything out. I'm on Gary Con server to check out their stuff. You know, like you guys steal from us, we steal from everybody else too. We have a local convention, Carnage. I joined their convention this year just to check to see how they're doing things, and that's what you have to do. And it worked, luckily for us. We learned a lot.
Yeah. So
how many people do you have signed up for the online games this year?
Oh God, it's abysmal.
Well, abysmal.
I'm more positive. So we have about 400.
Okay.
400, yeah.
So 400 from the numbers I've seen for online, I think the 400 is pretty good.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to keep the flag flying. You know, the discussion was not to have a con this year. And we said, no, let's push through and do a con this year. And 400 people agreed with us.
Eric and I have actually talked about this a few times too. Is that I think there's a little bit of online con fatigue going on right now with people because when they first happened, I know people were like, "Yeah, online cons, that's awesome," and there were some big numbers with online cons. It seems like it's fallen off as the year went on, and then you got I think about November. I remember talking to Alex for Gamehole Con, and they had pretty good numbers, but he said that he wasn't going to do an online con again because he said it just wasn't worth the trouble because they just don't get enough people. But I think by that time the fatigue had kind of set in, and unfortunately, y'all were lucky last year that you were right at the beginning of the cycle and you didn't get hit with it. I think you're unlucky this year that you're at the very end of the cycle where people are like, okay, time to get back in person. We've already done the online con a few times, so I think 400 is a pretty good number to have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
honestly.
It is.
Yeah, the biggest fatigue is showing up in the organized play groups. I think the Adventure League and Pathfinder. You could find that if you're online, you could get into a game every weekend somewhere. There's a convention everywhere in the United States, especially those groups. They all talk, right? So you could play an Adventure League and Pathfinder every weekend. So the local people don't have to drive. They don't have to. They can play a game in California next weekend if they want to. So that's where the big fatigue is really hitting. Is in those groups, and they're a good chunk in role playing, especially for us. They're probably, I'll say, 25 of our role playing tables per time slot. So that number's way down on their side, but it's nothing reflecting on them. Those people have just been playing this whole time, and they've played the modules out. There's only so many adventures available, and they've played them all. So,
but on the flip side, I think of those 400 people. They're very thankful for what we did. Like we had a guy that's deployed right now in Africa, and he said, "Thank you so much. I wasn't going to be able to attend TotalCon this year. Now I can because it's virtual, and it's for people like that we're doing this."
Well, that's special, and that's good, and that's there are pros and cons to virtual conventions. Glenn is someone who has games regularly online. You do VTTs with people out in Long Island, but they're actually doing it in person out in Long Island. So Glenn actually phones in. How does that work?
Well, a couple of weeks ago we've been on VTT because somebody caught COVID and nobody's gone back yet. But usually, I'm on this software called House Party. And they just house party me in there, and he puts a camera on the table, and there's a guy sitting there, and here I am over in the other place. Hi, Yeah. And it works out fine. We're doing pretty much theater of the mind. They can see a map, but they have to describe it to me. So.
Okay. So,
Gotcha.
but, I mean, I can see. I mean, listen, except for conventions, most of my gaming, all my gaming in the last couple of years has been by virtual tabletops, except for convention games. Because I used to play out in Long Island twice a month, but that group fell apart, I don't know, 2 years ago. And even though I'm in New York City, first, if I wasn't a face-to-face group, I wouldn't be taking a subway into Manhattan to game. And I'm armed, but right now it reminds me of like the Clive Barker books from when I was a bit younger in my 20s. The one with the Midnight Meat Train. The subways are a little bit Wild West right now. There's a lot of reasons, not just directly COVID, for not getting together face to face. So virtual is huge, but at the same time, I think that there can be people who are getting worn with it and just dying to get face to face. In the case was like Joe. Joe and I
keep buying fucking dice left and right. I keep buying dice every chance I could get. I just want to play. I just want to roll dice in person with my friends again, and that's it. Yeah. The weird complication we're going to have is we've been playing, Roll20 a lot, and it's the benefit of it is you sit home, you save an hour of travel each way, right? So you can play longer, or eat a better dinner rather than shove something down your throat real quick. And you could, you sit at home in your underwear. I mean, that's obviously that's a little benefit as long as you don't stand up, like Matt Jackson does. Anyway,
I'm wearing pants right now. Who knows?
yeah, that's it, right? So the thing is, though, when we get back together, what we did was we introduced a buddy of my brother's who was a really good guy. He lives out in I don't know where, Midwest somewhere in Midlands, and he's a cool dude. But how are we going to now get back to being face to face when we got this guy out there in Tennessee or something who we do want to keep playing with, and we got to do some weird ass implementation of a Roll20 combo speakerphone, I don't know, video chat, because I do want to get back to in person, but I don't want to stop playing with this guy. So it's going to be interesting to see, what we end up doing.
Over the last couple of years, I know my face-to-face games the last few years, we've had at least one people Skyped in.
Really?
Yeah.
How'd that work out? Is it good? I'm curious.
My Thursday game with Matt, the McGarther game, he just points his camera at the table so they can see what's going on. People move their figures for him, and they're just, "Hi, how you doing? Okay, what are you doing?" Kind of thing.
Okay. I guess we could do something like that. Yeah, use Microsoft Hangouts or Zoom. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So Shadzar has a question. Do we think that after the virus, will change the future of cons to include a virtual element for all those people who would be unable to play to attend, unable to attend after the virus has been squashed? Because there are going to be people going to be squeamish about going to cons.
North Texas will. We had a lot of positive. And we did the very least you could possibly do for online. We just basically said, look, here's our Discord page. You all schedule it through the page. We did have the games on tabletop events, but we really were totally hands off. And we had people that were like, oh my gosh, this is so great. This is the first North Texas I've ever been able to attend. And so we're like, wow, well, I guess it's something we'll just do all the time. And so I think, yeah, definitely. Cons are really missing out if they eliminate on the online aspect of gaming.
Yeah, that's a discussion we've been having on the side with pieces here and there. There's a couple different thoughts we've had where we'll have some games and they'll be all virtual, 100%. But you think about those things and the way we organize, that means I need another staff member, right? I need somebody who's going to handle and deal with the Discord server set, right? So you got Discord and you're going to handle the online games. The other thought is just like Michael just said was we were talking about, well, if I take a private room, I put a 65-inch TV in there and hook it up to a laptop. I have Tim Kask on the 65-inch TV. There are some people sitting at a table playing a game with Tim. There are some people coming in virtual. And it just tiles out, and there's a few virtual people on. And that way, because Tim may not feel like traveling next year. Whoever else you can get in, and maybe you have a couple private rooms with just some tables, a few people playing, and some people phoning in virtual. So it's a hybrid, right? That could be a possibility. There's a lot of things, but for that you got to set up infrastructure for it. You got to buy the TV,
Right.
you got to buy the
Right.
laptop, you got to buy the stand for it. So, it's a possibility. It's an investment. Will it work? I'm sure it can work. It's just bite the bullet.
Is
and do, one system.
Is it? Yeah, is it feasible? Is the money there to make it work? But then something else that again, a lot of, especially when it comes to the old school personalities, a lot of them are getting older. They were already getting to the age where going to conventions were going to slow down, and now with the evil COVID, which it's a good thing we're not monetized, because if we were, we'd probably be demonetized the moment I said that. But with COVID, the issue becomes there are going to be people that have health issues, like myself now with congestive heart failure. You want to make sure that you've taken all precautions before you throw yourself into a large crowd over the course of 4 days. If I was the age of Tim Kask, I'd be probably a lot more, cautious going forward. So it's an interesting conundrum to be in, and COVID has forced us to think about it.
I'm curious, guys. Do you think that this convention this year, did you get more people going to the online component than you normally? In other words, would they have not shown up in person? Are these just people who are taking the opportunity to play online, in which case you may be expanding your base for when you do go back in person? Even though you may lose some older folks, you may gain some people to say, that was a pretty cool convention, even though it was online. I'm going to go in person next year. Do you think it might balance out like that? Or?
Well, we did get a decent contingency of people, not from our area, but I don't know if it's going to be feasible for them to actually come to TotalCon. We're talking like Utah, California and stuff. Yeah. It would be nice if they did, but I'm not sure. If we could keep that virtual component going, I think, yes, that would be a definite offset.
I know North Texas, we've definitely had some people that just can't come. I mean, we had last year, a guy was California. He said, I've never been able to come because I just can't afford the plane flight. But the first year you had something online, I jumped in and signed up for as many games as I could. So I think, I don't know how big that audience is, but I think there's definitely an audience of people that are not able to attend cons in person. Maybe all cons, maybe just certain regional cons. But I definitely think that there's a component of people that really, really need online play, because that's really one of the only ways they can play, and that's why Eric and I are doing this whole week of talk about TotalCon, because one of the things you miss from online cons is getting that personal one-to-one, with special guests, with the people who run the con, with other guests or other attendees at the con. And that may be part of the fatigue also, is people are, well, it's fun going to con, but I don't get to go to a dealer room. I don't get to say hi to my friends. We don't get to go out to dinner with, these old school guys. And so,
let's face it, we're all aging too.
Yeah.
I'm not an old school guy, and I'm getting old. So, old school guys, where it's a real challenge for them to jump on a plane and fly across the country, 3, 4, 5 times a year, and they're going to start slowing down, right? And but I'd love to keep them at my convention if I could, and that virtual component could be the key to that. And I, especially for us old school game conventions, right? I want to keep some of those guys at our convention. I'm not dissing Pathfinder. I'm not dissing Adventure League. People like 5e. God bless them. They play 5e. Some people still play 3.5. God bless them. Play 3.5. Some people want to play Ghost of Inverness, right? And I got to play with Alan Hammock last year, Ghost of Inverness, and we had a blast. And I'd like to keep some of those guys around too. So maybe the way to go.
Yeah, people. We had a couple of players with mobility issues. So the virtual thing was a very big plus for them this year. So I like that as well.
Let's see. Vauban, also known as Greg, it seems to me like a virtual con is just a temporary online matchmaking system to form gaming groups. It's a unique flavor of that con's theme. Example, OSR gaming. Why not just make it make it permanent? Well, yes and no, because I'll be honest with you, as a GM at a convention, I actually love running with basically what you call pickup groups, because they challenge me in different ways than a regular group would challenge me, because I don't know what they're going to do. And last TotalCon, I ran for a group. Out of my table of 8, 7 of them were from the same regular group. So I had a group of 7 that already worked well together, and they weren't old school gamers. They were 5e gamers. They just wanted to try an old school game. So they played Swords of Wizardry Light. But it was a challenge because they worked well together. They worked as a well-oiled machine and kept me on my toes. They had a good time. That was nice.
People pick on the 5e people here and there. They say, well, these guys, let's face it, the 5e, the 3e stuff had a much better structure to it. Right? We play old school. It's like, here's a book, here's some background, here's the stuff, and the GM fills it in. Okay? Well, to me, 3e and 5e, you're working inside of a box. Right? Here's the rules, and you have these rules, and these are the rules, and this is what you're using. But these guys have learned to use those rules to the maximum potential. They know the timing on their characters. You go first, you do this. I will do this and heal you. You do this and I do that. So as much as we had to think off the cuff, these guys think procedurally a lot of times, very, very procedurally. And they know how to make their characters maximize. It's called min-max.
Yeah.
They can do it with their characters, and they surprise you. Because they've learned it a different way. And while we learn to speak quick and agile on our feet, they've learned to use the system and use it to their advantage.
And it's the second time. Oh, yeah. But listen, this was a group of 5e players that wanted to learn or experience an old school way of playing. And they were adjusting as well as I was. But a couple of years ago at GaryCon, we had our 5e GM get snowed in. Or snowed out, how we want to call it. Never made it to the convention. So at 3:05, Zach tells me that I'm running a 3:00 game of 5e. And I was like, well, first off, I don't have the rule books. Secondly, I don't know the rules. So, but I know the adventure. It was our Rappanathic Mouth of Doom 3D set. I was like, all right, I know the adventure. I'm going to bring Sword and Wizardry Light with me. And I'll just go to the table, and I explained it. I said, listen, you're DM, got snowed out. You have 2 options, really. I go, we can try to run it 5e, but one of you is going to have to be like the assistant DM because I do not know the rules. So it's going to be a little awkward. Or we can run it with Swords of Wizardry Light. Characters take 10 minutes. And if you're not interested, no harm, no foul. I really am not offended if somebody doesn't want to do that. And a table of 8, one person said, thanks for the offer, but I'll pass. Not what I'm here for. The other 7 gave it a shot. And except for the one player who kept on trying to say, I want to roll my intuition. There's no intuition roll, dude. Just tell me from how it sounded to you what you think. No, but what do you mean there's no intuition roll? What do I roll against? I go, no, dude. There's no skills like that in this game. You've got to think out of the box because they're used to being in the box. And it was nice though because out of that table of 7, half that table, 4. 2 rushed back to the Frog God booth right at the end of the game, like right before 6 o'clock or right before 7, whatever it was, to buy the rule book for full Swords and Wizardry. And 2 others came by the next day when I was working at the booth to pick up stuff. So it was nice that they got exposed to a system they didn't even expect to get exposed to and enjoyed it. And I give them a lot of credit for saying, all right, yeah, we'll give it a shot. Because I wasn't what they paid for to get there. And that's something that unless you've worked at conventions, when you run a game at a convention, especially if you're there because you're working for a company, like I'm doing it for Frog Guy Games, you want people to leave there having a good time. Right. You're there to entertain. You're not there to screw the party. You're not there to do a TPK, but you're not there to baby them either. You're there to entertain. Yeah. And sometimes I've been in games like this where people forget that. And it's like, you want people to have fun, work with them. Doesn't mean let them roll over the adventure. That's not fun for anybody, even the ones that think it's going to be fun. But if they have a good experience, they're going to either like the products that you sell, or they're going to like the convention because they had a great time. They'll have stories to tell about it, and that's really what conventions thrive on, is that word of mouth. And now that word of mouth is on the internet too, as opposed to just coming back to your gaming group and saying I had a great time at Gen Con or whatever. Now you can literally be on Facebook saying I had a great time at TotalCon, and I got to play in this game, and I got to meet so and so, and I saw Jeff Talanian at his table, and he was a blast. But all this stuff that to me is what makes conventions special, and that's kind of why Mike and I, like Mike said, we wanted to do something like this. So people that can't get to a con physically still get to meet some of the people that they hopefully would have met at the con, like the two of you, like Alan Hammock, like Chris last night.
Yep.
Tomorrow, Zach Laser.
Yeah, Zach. Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, you might think you want to meet him, but yeah, you meet him, and unless he's talking about food, you're going to be seriously disappointed in the conversation. So, no,
but he does have
give him a hard time.
Does have good taste in food. I will say that
he takes good pictures of food. The taste sometimes I worry about. No, I'm just kidding. Zach's a very good friend, but yeah, he's kind of my. He's kind of my con buddy. Well, Eric's my con buddy at the con because when we get at the con, Zach takes off and does his frou-frou COO stuff. And Eric and I are left running the table like for days at a time. But Zach and I, for the last few years, have been driving up to both Gary Con and Gamehole Con. We take 2 days there, 2 days back. And so he's kind of my con travel buddy for the last 4 or 5 years. And so I've seen a lot more of Zach than I probably need to during those weeks because we're together a lot during that 10 days. But so I'm always happy to see Eric when I get there, because I can trade off Zach for Eric. Zach goes off side stage. Eric comes in. It works out. It's great.
Well, that's why we work really good as doing these live casts back and forth, because we were used to spending time at conventions talking back and forth, and my wife Rach would help out, and I still think the best thing that Rach ever did was try to sell the Blight. I don't know if you were there, Mike, when she was talking about it as a social worker and how great it was, because it's like narcotics and it has this whole thing about addiction, and I'm just like, Rach, cut it off right there. You don't want you don't that's I know it's a selling point to you, but it's probably not to the gaming.
Hey, it worked on me. I'm still looking at my copy here.
I used to explain to people the Blight's a great book if you like dark, and if you don't like dark, you've been warned, because it's really good stuff. But I mean, it is dark, not the normal Frog God fare.
Hey, anything by Frog God's good.
Yes, even Mike.
Come on, man.
Even Mike. Yeah, I was tempted to wear my Frog God shirt, because since we're doing this for TotalCon, but then I realized that I often slip into potty mouth mode, and I was like, yeah, I want to be recorded.
It just makes you want to curse.
Yeah, and then I'll be like, Frog God was dropping the F-bomb again on YouTube. Then Tim Cass will think I was Bill again, and that Bill was cursing on YouTube, and we don't need that. That's a whole other story.
Bill seems like a blame about everything, right?
Yeah, well, and it's funny too, because and I understand afterwards. I understood it. Tim at Gamehole Con a couple of years ago gave me a huge tongue lashing. I'm gonna tell you, and I don't like it. The off date with me, and I'm just standing there with my mouth wide open. And then Jim Wampler afterwards, who witnessed the whole thing, is like, he thought you were Bill Webb there. I went, chemo brain. All right, because I had chemo brain. I had after effects for years after that, where memory was hazy and crap like that. And I was like, all right, I understand completely. But man, I was like, but I'm not walking around in like my pajama bottoms and the trench coat. It's hard to get that comparison going. But maybe I'm better looking than I think I am.
Yeah, when I first saw him in that outfit, I was like, who do we invite to our convention? He was walking around in his pajamas and a trench coat, and I'm like, is he all there? What? I'm like, never mind.
Yeah, Bill. That was actually my initial reaction when I first met Bill, and that was when the Swords and Wizardry third printing of the complete handbook was coming out, and I met him at North Texas, and sat down with him in the bar and it was like, I'm like, this is Bill Webb. This is like, dealing. I feel like I'm like dealing with like Bill Gates or something like that, like somebody that just isn't on the same wavelength, and you realize they totally are on your wavelength. They just don't dress like you do, and they don't care. And I was like, all right, but he's the nicest, coolest individual that I know, not just in the hobby, but outside of it. And before I was a cop, I worked retail for 8.5 years, and I sold electronics and other products, and I was decent at the job I did. Not as and after meeting Bill, I was like, wow, I have met the ultimate salesman. Not like the scuzzy used car salesman. I mean, the person that believes in the product that they're selling because they made it when their hands are involved in it, and they can tell you intimately about it, and they can tell you about how how certain books have survived their firing range with like, and I put from 50 yards, I put 3 rounds in the book and nothing penetrated all the way through. It's like, these are big books. I'm like, yeah, they are. That's
I would bring an extra 100 every year because I know I'm going to run into Bill Webb.
Oh yeah,
and he's going to tell me something.
And you don't even realize it because Bill he is so passionate about the hobby. He's passionate. Swords and Wizardry Light would never have happened without Bill saying, "Hey, we can have a compact rule set that we can give away in print, and it's feasible." Yeah, do it. I'm like, really? We got the AOK on this one? Holy shit! All right, this is. Then it became real.
He got it out of that ghetto of starter sets. Because people, just another starter rules that they don't give you. No, this is a complete game.
Yeah,
really.
No, that was. Yeah.
What I found interesting about Bill Webb and Frog God Games is that, in comparison to other companies, he seems to go out and search for varying talents.
Yes.
Right. I've seen the Frog God, the usual Frog God Game group, the core group, the guys. But then I know he's talking to Merle Rasmussen, he's talking to this person, he's talking to that person, and it's all going to be very varied. It's going to be different flavors all over the place, all different people he pulls in. Hey, I want to write a different book, and I want you to write it for me. And he pulls in a lot of different people from a lot of different things, and he mixes it up. It's not always the same people just regurgitating book after book after book after book after book. It's different authors in those books. It's always different. Wow, he's got different. Oh, I know this person. Oh, I know that person, and I do find interesting as a game company, he's just not using these people. He's using, I think, a broad spectrum of the industry.
He spreads the wealth, and people enjoy doing business with Frog God, with Bill. I mean, as somebody that's with 1 foot in, one foot out of the company, I hear from people outside the company that have done work for the Frogs. They're like, oh, I'd work for Frog God. They had an assignment for me. I'd take it in a heartbeat. Frog God has never been late in paying me. They've always been early. It's like, because Bill understands.
Yeah.
I just look forward to the products. I mean, I got the Swords and Wizardry. I'm looking right now at the Kickstarters because I'm looking to see, because I backed a zillion zine quests and I'm trying to see when's each hitting or whatever. But I'm looking now and I'm looking at the Swords and Wizardry box set. I'm like, this, I can't wait. It looks like it's almost ready too. So I'm getting the updates and everything. But even though I got a couple versions of Swords and Wizardry, I know this is going to be good. Right. And so I want it. And so it's the kind of stuff when, the new thing from Frog God pops up. I'm like, I'm going to check this out seriously because, it's going to be quality stuff,
Yeah. I can't back any Kickstarters. I'm all spent out on that. Wife will kill me.
I'm the one that backs the
We'll let her know.
Kickstarters.
Oh, wait.
There you go.
I just finished Bones 5, right, for Reaper, and I was like, I'll get a couple minis. $500 later.
Yeah.
So the wife's like, yeah, that's enough of that.
Eric's been doing a Zine Quest Kickstarters all week. We did one. Oh, Eric, the one we did last week with Tim and Steve and Matt and all that.
Yeah.
Steve is $110 away from funding this thing, man.
Really?
100, yeah. 100. If it's he's almost there. He's almost there. So I can't wait for that one. Horrors of the Sepulchre. So yeah, it helps. I mean, every little bit, you're getting the word out, like what we're doing here. This is good because it's a resource that people wouldn't normally have. You know what I mean? Because like you say, if you're going to the convention, you're going to talk with everybody. But other than that, if there's no convention, if there's no game, if there's no outreach like this, just getting to know people like regular human beings, you wouldn't get into it. I think it's the key to everything. I think I never met Bill. I don't remember anybody in trench coat pajamas at least. But it's those guys with charisma. You know what I mean? Who make the things happen? That's the kind of visionary with the Steve Jobs like charisma that make the stuff happen, and you want to buy their stuff. You just want to make it happen.
Bill has an eye for talent, and he's got a really good eye at finding people like Casey Christopherson, who can spot talent. Casey spots amazing artists. The artwork that like Joe was referring to, the new Swords of Wizardry box set. I have it up on my secondary screen, and I have the referee book up, and the artwork on the cover is spot on, amazing, and it is something that I think as an old school gamer, I think that a lot of times we forget how important it is for artwork to bring people into the hobby. Yeah. We have the things that we remember. Everybody has their favorite artwork from like I came in with AD&D, so for me it was the Paladin in Hell defines what I think to be gaming artwork, that black and white plate. But
I'm chainmail bikinis, baby. Chainmail bikinis all the way. The Elmore stuff.
But here's the thing with Elmore stuff, it all kind of begins to look alike. I hate to say it, man, but all his females, look. Yeah. They get like, oh, they got the same face, man. But here I'm gonna just bring this up real quick, since I can do a screen share. That's the referee book cover.
Oh wow!
And it is a sweet looking cover.
That's what Michael Saragos did the art there. He is a Frazetta student of Frazetta, and his stuff has a very, very Frazetta vibe to it. He's just a really, really, really talented artist.
So awesome. when I did Swords of Wizardry Continual Light, I got the cover for that book was by Jeff Shields. Sorry, not Jeff. James Shields, and when I showed it to my niece, she was like, I don't know, 6.5, 7 years old at the time. She saw it and she grabbed it out of my hands. It's like my proof copy. She holds it up like victoriously over her head, and she goes to my wife Rachel. She goes, "Auntie, this cover sells." She goes, "This, I want this book. This cover sells." And I was like, "Wow!" That's awesome. The amount of babes. But she's right. People see the cover and they go, "Wow, it looks amazingly awesome." And you look at this cover and you're like, "Holy crap, that looks amazing." So
I will say one thing: art was not a priority at Frog Eye Games until Zach and Matt kind of got involved in it. Bill comes from the old school that when I bought that stuff back in the 70s, they had crappy art. People buy crappy art now. And it's taken us about 10 years to make him not realize that's not the case anymore. That if you have crappy art, people are going to say, "Oh, that's a crappy product," because Bill grew up buying Judges Guild stuff, which has just borderline yucko art, and so he didn't understand how much art could sell. But with our Indiegogo line, we've had almost uniformly just absolutely excellent covers, and that line is doing great. So I think Bill has finally come around. But a lot of that thanks goes to Zach and Matt for kind of pushing him that direction, and Casey Christopherson also, because Casey's our art director. And Casey has been amazing at finding young artists. Yes. He's just absolutely just incredible that the guys he finds in the wilds of Wichita, Kansas.
All places.
He finds these kids that are just absolutely amazing artists. So So don't give Bill credit for that one. Give Bill. No, I'm just kidding. But no, that was the result of people just hammering him for years and saying we really need to have nicer artwork. It really will sell better. And so I think he finally realizes that that's true. It does sell better with the artwork.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I'm gonna just say goodbye real quick. We're still in the middle of a convention, and it's almost 9. I got to pop out for another event, but thank you so much for talking to me.
Oh, thank you
so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, this is
You guys
awesome.
take care.
Bye-bye.
Don't tell her, but we kept the better half. That was Angelia, main con woman. Con person? Con person doesn't sound right.
He's a con woman.
If you call it
con woman, yeah.
When we say con man, then it's like Ken Whitman, and we don't want to say that name. So I mean,
Con guru. How about con guru?
Con guru. Yeah, that could work. Yeah, I remember my first TotalCon, just 2018 was my first one, and I registered under my real last name, Stina, and so I'm at the Frog God booth, and I'm talking with like Bill and Zach,
Yes.
and Bill just refers to me as like Tenkar, and then she's like, Tenkar? I'm like, yeah. She's like, you're here? I'm like, yeah. She was like, I didn't see you register. I'm like, yeah, it's not my real last name. I was a cop for 20 years. I couldn't be on social media with my real last name, and I was just like, oh my God, you're actually here? I'm like, yeah. I was like, wow. For once, aside from North Texas and ShireCon, I'm actually a known presence. I shouldn't say that joke around, but and not for bad things. I've had the well, not really. I guess not really knives, rubber knives taken at me at certain places. Poor attempts, but in any case.
Yeah,
You crazy.
Legends, but sure.
Yeah.
Angela keeps. Angela really helps out the convention. That's all I can say. She does all the PR work for us. I'm not a blog person. I am not a Facebook person. I actually super limit my time on social media. I'm that old school person, and I'm like I don't like people are texting and asking these questions. Like I'm not looking. I don't care. Right? I'm putting a convention together. I'm like, there are games at the tables, right? I said that's my job. That's what I do. She's
the face.
Yeah, she's giving us the information, the feedback that's important to the convention, right? And without that, people they just don't care. And
right.
So yes, we all work. We all have jobs, and we really try to keep our jobs. You do your job, I do my job. And that's it. And you're amazed when you do that. It seems to work. So
TotalCon runs really. It's a really smoothly run con. I'll never mention which cons aren't run smoothly, but I'll say North Texas runs its clockwork. Except it took Doug 2 years to figure out who I was between my two names. Between my two names, and he's like, "Why the hell don't you just register as Tenkar?" I'm like, "I don't know what I registered under, dude. I know I got a badge. If I can't find it, I know you have one too, but I don't know what you're under." I was like, "Okay."
I'm going to try to swing down there this year. If I get my vaccine shot and we can fly, honestly, I get tons of vacation, nothing to do with it this year because everything's still kind of.
I'll be there if vaccine shot or not.
Yeah.
Well, because
I'm a little hesitant on planes until I get the shot. It's the planes I care about a little bit more. I'm kind of yeah. I got to fly down.
Drive, so yeah.
And the virus in the con doesn't scare Glenn. Glenn's already broken bones at North Texas, so he's
right.
He's dead.
Yes.
Only in a bad way.
No, I recognized Eric immediately. I was so excited he was there.
Mm-hmm. It was very sweet. It was very. It made me feel good.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Yeah, and of course, unlike my first North Texas, where Rach was upset that somebody in the pool didn't know who I was. How can you not know? You're here for the con. How can you not know Tenkar? Like, Rach, relax. You do blogs or forums? Oh, I don't read blogs. I only read forums. I'm like, there you go. Dragon's Foot or Knights and Knaves? Dragon's Foot. She rates that they don't overlap too much. She's like, but how could
there
he?
are people there I don't recognize. So.
But God. But
Jesus, are forums still a thing? I mean, are they still? I haven't been on one in forever and a half, honestly. I mean, the AN World RPG site, Knights and Knaves. I haven't heard that name in years, man.
Well, Dragon's still a forum, right?
Yeah.
What would you consider a forum?
Yeah, Dragon's Foot's yeah.
So,
they're still going strong though. They got their own thing going, right?
I'm surprised N-World.
Actually, N-World has improved over the last year and a half after some of the more extreme and toxic personalities that were employed by N-World left for other pastures. The atmosphere there's changed, and as an old school gamer, now I see them covering old school gaming information and Kickstarters more than they used to.
They still have too many ads for my taste.
Well, it's the forum that banned Joe for not something that he did on their forums. He got banned for a blog. Yeah, for a post
on my own personal blog. They banned me on EOL for talking smack about, I think, probably Morris, because he's your wife's not going to say what he is, But yeah, so they banned me for that. He had another forum, some Roman Circus Maximus, I think it was called.
Yeah. Oh God, that's right. Yes,
there was a discussion on Circus Maximus. Even some of those fanboys of Morris thought he went too far. I was like, Jesus, man, I'll take it. I'll take it as a fucking compliment.
Circus Maximus was the. What is it, Glenn?
What was that, Glenn?
We missed it, Glenn.
Yeah, I checked out, Glenn.
I was just going to say, Morris gave me a 3-week ban. Oh, so, am I still here?
Yeah, 3-week ban for.
Hello?
Yes,
we hear you.
3-week ban for what?
Can you hear me?
You can't hear us. Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
No, I was just going to say, I got a 3-week. I can hear you. I got a 3-week ban from Morris one time, and he was so shocked. He actually PM'd me and he says, "I'm just curious why you did that." I put up a meme.
Why did you expose yourself online?
He said, "You're bringing up something that is in the way past." I said, "Yeah, but it's a great meme." I had a picture of Borco at it was a Casablanca picture with Bogart and Borco. I superimposed over Ingrid Bergman. I just said, "We'll always have Borco." And it's like, up to 3 weeks.
Why'd you get banned for that? That's
that was like 5 years later, and it's like, you're bringing up stuff that we don't need to bring up anymore. And it's like, fine, give me the 3 weeks. I didn't feel it, really.
That was, you weren't going to post it anywhere. Well, it's funny though, because like N-World.
Everybody remembers Borco.
No, I don't. But N-World is still doing good. N-World's still doing good traffic. RPGNet has been tanking now for the last year or two. Dragon's Foot has, Listen, when my blog comes close to doing RPGNet traffic and is better in the States than RPGNet, they're falling behind where they should be. They used to be the premier gaming forum.
They were the biggest. They were for the longest time.
I think it's when you lose your focus from gaming that you suffer. N-World was losing its focus for a while, and now it seems to regain its focus.
Yeah,
that's the danger there. That's the danger of conventions. And I keep trying to pull everybody back onto the road and say, this is a gaming convention. We're here to play games. And people are like, well, this person's going to be at your convention. That person. Listen, we're here to play games. I don't care if you don't like the person. Don't talk to them. Don't play their game. That's not.
So what's happening with Dragon?
Nothing right now.
So yeah, it's interesting. It happens all over the place. Everybody's trying to make their crusade your crusade, and it's like, guys, we're here to run a game. We're here to talk on a forum. Right. Stop. Get back on the road.
Well, and that's something I give a lot of credit to Frank Metzner about, because Frank was the one, and I still remember this. I was coming back from GaryCon, and I was at the airport, and Frank is private messaging me, and he's like, "Listen, you got to go into the Tavern's Facebook community because somebody is doing some posts that are highly agitated and political." And I'm like, "Wow, if Frank is finding it to be agitated and political, it must be." And he's like, I truly suggest that you make a public statement that the Tavern is a neutral ground and that politics and social issues do not get discussed at the Tavern. And you know what? He was right. Damn it. I mean, he was, because, and as I said elsewhere, are these topics important? Yes, they are important. Are they important enough to be interjected or into a gaming situation? No,
Right.
Because you can't do it justice in the Tavern's Facebook community or TotalCon's forum or Facebook page. You can't, because these conversations become tribal, and that's the whole thing. Everybody's got an opinion.
People forget it. It's also important to have a place where that stuff doesn't get discussed, where you're free of it, because if that kind of stuff, no matter what side you're on, if that stuff is always at the forefront of every conversation in every place you ever go, then you don't have a time or a place or an opportunity to find common ground with anybody else on anything. And so all you're doing is seeing differences, and you're never finding things. Hey, you like D&D too? We may be on different sides of the political aisle, but you know what? We could roll dice together and kill the damn troll. You know what I mean? And then there's your bonding moment right there. You need a place without this kind of drama and controversy. I think that's what's helped the Meebi group, that Dungeons & Dragons Meebi group we run, because they got 6,000 members now, and people like it. There's no bullshit. There's no drama allowed. I booted 20 people a couple of weeks ago just for mentioning any word of drama. Gone. And it helps. You need a place to just come together as human beings and just enjoy your common interests, because that's what's going to get you through the bullshit overall.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. The convention's supposed to be, my convention's a very neutral place, and I know there are people on both. I have people on both sides all the way to the ends, and I play games with them both. These people play games with each other. The unfortunate thing I have to say about social media is you know more about people than you really want to know or need to know. Right? It's like I'm with a gaming person I see only 2 or 3 times a year. I enjoy playing games with them. I don't care what his political stance is. I enjoy rolling dice with them. Let's just play some games, right? I don't care if you like this president or didn't like this president. I won't use any names anywhere. I don't care. Do you want to kill the orc or not? Kick his ass, right? And you can put whatever name you want on the ogre while we're kicking his ass. It's up to you. But let's kick the ogre's ass and just be done with it, and that's it. What goes on the forums, I'm sure, is worse. But at the convention, it can get a little bit. But I was happy. I so minimal. I think anybody understands that at the convention. It's let's stay on the road. We're here to play games. We're here to save the princess. We're here to kill the aliens. We're here to do. That's what we're here for, guys.
every once in a while, North Texas will have somebody that wants to make a stand. And it's in our policy, Doug and I's policy is absolutely no politics. When you sit down and game, you just game. There's no litmus tests. There's no this and that. We've had a few people over the years that want to do litmus tests, and we say you don't have to come to the con. I mean, that's all we can tell you is we can't do what you want to do. We had one person once who asked if we had concealed carry at the con. We said, well,
oh God, I remember that.
Well, we have the hotel. It allows you to carry. So we as a con cannot prevent somebody from carrying if they have the paperwork, because we're in the hotel. We're not a separate entity. We have to do whatever the hotel wants us to do. And then they're like, well, you probably need to switch hotels in. Like, we're not going to switch hotels. So sorry. I mean, it's not a political statement. It's just that they allow open carry as part of the hotel allows open carry. Oh, Glenn just dropped out. You just dropped out, Glenn.
I don't think you bounced any.
No. I mean, the thing is, we
Can you
can't.
hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. And what we try to let the person know is we can't prevent anybody that's lawfully carrying a weapon from entering the con because the hotel allows it. Now, if the hotel didn't allow it, then yes, we would definitely enforce that and say, look, if you cannot conceal carry at our con.
Our big one's drinking. That's our big one. We have a bar area, and that's where drinking is allowed.
Well, in Texas, you're not allowed to carry a weapon where they serve alcohol anyway. So that would be a big, huge no. That's illegal, isn't it? That's already illegal if you try to carry with a bar. Yeah. But we have a lot of law enforcement that attend our con, and some of them sometimes they do carry. But yeah, that was one instance where we're like, this isn't political at all. Right. This is just us following the law. And the law is you're allowed to do it if you have all the paperwork. Now, if somebody doesn't have the paperwork, that's illegal. They need to be. Well, we would boot them out of the con in a second. But we never had a problem. Yeah, I mean, just it was somebody that just was reacting to certain things that happened in the media, and they were worried, and we tried to reassure them that I mean, we have probably 5 or 6. There's a lot of sheriffs in West Texas that play D&D and play games, and they come every year. We're like, look, you're surrounded by active law enforcement. You're probably safer here than you are in any place, any con you go to. These are active law enforcement individuals, so you're actually very safe here.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that. The other thing is
guys have to drop off for the convention, and thank you for having me.
Hey, it was great to have you. Great for you to come.
I'm getting a ping, so I got to take off. All right, thank you guys very much.
All right, later.
Thank you both.
Have a great con. Have a very successful great con.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye.
I just thought of something. So,
what?
Can we segue into something I've been waiting to talk about for the last 24 hours, Eric? And you know what this is, right, Eric?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Because I've been chomping at the bit like the last 24 hours because I was directed to a video yesterday that Eric showed me.
I know what you're talking about.
And has everybody seen this video?
No, I don't think Glenn saw it yet. But
we're talking Mr. James Raggy of Lamentations of the Flame Princess made a video.
You know what? Whoa. I think I know what's going on with Glenn.
I heard it.
Glenn, are you watching this on YouTube?
Oh, yes. That's happened to me before.
There's a several second lag. Oh, okay. I was thinking because I'm hearing the lag there.
Because I've done that before. That's what happened. I've done that.
I'm on my tablet.
Oh, okay.
I'm on my tablet.
But
that's the other thing with a decent camera.
Gotcha.
So James Raggy put out a video updating the status of Lamentations of the Flame Princess and updating the status of James in general. And it was a painful video to watch.
I gotta say, man, it was. I'm at the point where I think I dropped $50 into this ref book, and I've been bitching about it, maybe more vocally than most for the last couple years.
Not as vocally as me, but that's okay.
Yeah. But it's basically he just looks on the ragged edge, and I feel bad for him at this point, dude. I can't believe I'm saying this. Keep my fucking $50 or whatever it was, and just get yourself together and fucking. I'm serious. I just feel bad. He's like, Christ, I can't describe it, man. Just get your shit together, man. Take care of yourself. Do what you got to do, and Christ.
So I was telling Eric, I think I saw that video and I realized that ref book's never coming out. That's never coming out, so that's gone. And I don't know who that video was for, because there are very few writers that are willing to create product on spec. Basically, you'll get royalties down the line. Yeah. There are probably zero artists that I know that are willing to do that, because artists are so used to getting taken advantage of that they're very quick to point out that, look, I did work, you need to pay me for my work. There's very few of them that will work for royalties or for spec. So I don't know who he's trying to get to save his company, but I they're not there. People that are willing to work for free are just not there. Sorry. Or they are, but you're going to get exactly what you paid for. If you want free work, you're going to get crappy stuff. I mean, that's just what it boils down to.
Yeah. No, and he's looking for. I'm posting. Oh nope, is it the right? Is that the link? I hope it is. No, it wasn't the link. Of course it wasn't. I copy pasted the wrong part of because somebody sent it to me on Discord. So now, all right. So that's a false alarm, folks. Here, let me get you the. But of course, you can't watch it while you're watching us. So, I don't want to say go screw, but go screw. Watch it later.
As our 7 viewers go down to none after you paste the link.
But it was painful to watch because it was watching James basically say, "Yeah, we paid off all our debt, and now we're back to living hand to mouth." And that we have, and his inner muse seems to be gone. So,
Zach left?
Glenn. Zach, well, him and Zach, that's part of the problem too. He didn't mention Zach, but he did say people that he used to talk to on a daily basis, multiple times a day, he no longer can talk to. So, and Zach was his moneymaker. Greg, James Raggi is the Icarus of RPG.
He tried to get to the sun. He almost touched it, and his wings melted off.
I tell you, he's like.
So when did this start going wrong? Because look, Lamentations. I mean, by any so I look at it this way. I really like James a lot. I like his chutzpah. He created a whole genre. I mean, it's a whole genre that was nobody was doing anything with. He created a whole genre. His product is quality. It's not my cup of tea. I mean, most of his stuff are campaign enders. I mean, it's always funny. I go to his forums and everybody's like, is anybody running a campaign? Like, yeah, but everybody died. I mean, that's like every because I mean, yeah, you're gonna die in every campaign. It's hard for me to see a really long-lived Lamentations campaign if they're using the actual written material. Now you can play a dark campaign without using written material and probably do just fine, but the written material is going to TPK you half the time. But I mean, I want this thing to succeed. But something happened a few years ago. It predated the Zach breakup because Zach was a huge moneymaker for the company. I mean, Red and Pleasant Land, Vornheim. Now, Blue Medusa was done with somebody that was done with a different publisher,
right?
But
Patrick Stewart, I think.
Yeah. But Red and Pleasant Land went through about 4 printings. Vornheim went through 4 or 5. I mean, they did really well. That hurt him. That hurt him when Zach got in trouble and had to go away for a while. But there was something else going on. We lost Glenn.
We lost Glenn. It might be the connection.
There was something else going on that happened right about then. I don't know what it was, but this is right before he kind of hired Stacy D to do his customer search, which is a terrible move.
It could have been a personal thing. Didn't he get divorced recently?
He did get divorced, and that's I think that's what I'm leading to. Is I think that was something that happened that didn't work out very well for him.
I feel bad for him. I actually want to go ahead, Kevin.
I was going to say the first chink in the armor was when he tried to run, I think, 12 not consecutive, concurrent Kickstarters, and they were all working off each other, and then I think only like 3 funded.
Yeah, because you just can't do that. That's it's confusing to people. It was confusing to me.
And it's too much money out of people's pockets.
Sure.
Yeah.
At one time, and it was bad. I mean, and I had. Listen, I'm no Kickstarter expert, but I'm an expert on failed Kickstarters, and I gave James the advice of, dude, you're going to cannibalize your own sales by doing this. You're going to really hurt yourself. And he's like, yeah, you don't know. And well, all right. Glenn is returning. The circle is turning.
The return of Glenn.
Woohoo!
But and then of course last year we all know with the COVID, he does a lot of of convention sales, and he was basically shut out of all conventions last year. And that is a huge. I think he said, what was it, 40%, 60% of his business was convention sales.
Some huge amount.
It was a huge number, and so that was immediately that happened to a lot of small publishers last year. That wasn't just James. So maybe it's all these things added together. I mean, I don't know, but
and part of it is most small publishers, they are publishers as a side gig. For James, this is his gig. Last summer, he was putting the call out that, Lamentations was on the ropes, had to pay off nearly 6 figures in debt to the Finnish government for loans. And he was able to pay, he raised enough money to pay that back. I actually bought products saying, it's a bit of a gamble, but I'll get my money's worth if it comes through. And if I don't, all right, I'm willing to gamble it. It was my birthday, so I figured if I get it, it's a gift. And it came through, and stuff looks good. Is it usable? I don't know. I didn't do much more than read the first few pages of each book.
That's the thing. I kicked in money over the summer just because shit. I was thinking I have to pay him money now to get my shit later. But it was almost like extortion in a weird way. But I looked again as yesterday after I looked at the video. Oh my God, or whoever it was, and I looked at his site, and I'm like, maybe I'll buy something to help support him. Throw him $20. And honestly, I couldn't find a goddamn good thing I wanted because I'm looking at descriptions and they're all like, fuck for Satan or whatever the hell it is. And I know his style of game. And like you said, they're just party killers. And I don't want, I buy stuff I won't use, but it's nostalgic or it's old stuff or it's collectible. But I know I won't use this. I know I can't use this. And I don't even want to read it. And I talked to him years ago. I just don't want that vibe in my head. And I talked to him years ago about this. I said, Jesus Christ, James, why don't you just you can put out your shit that you like to put out, but put out other shit that'll sell, that people would want to use it generically, all, just general good old fashioned freaking adventure. And he's no, you want to do it. I'm like, all right, man, are you going to have a niche of a niche of a niche?
And Joe, he used to do that because look at stuff like Death Frost, Doom, Grinding Gear, Hammers of the God. Those are, they're weird, but they're good, solid adventures. They're not going to kill your whole party. They're not TPKs. And he just moved away from that. He said, no, I'm gonna just take it way out here. Those are weird, but they're not weird enough. But you know what? That kind of stuff, like you said, it sells. People want something they can play that's just maybe a little off or a little weird. And those were all really good. I don't know why he can't still write that kind of stuff. That stuff was really, really was playable. It was actually playable with just kind of a weirdo, crazy pulp type of vibe.
Yep.
And then I think did he also do was it the one that under the church, the Doom that crawled or something? Which was
the God
pretty
that crawled. Or something?
I can't remember who wrote that. If he wrote that up, that was actually good. That you could do that without killing your whole party. But
like most bands, their early stuff was good, right? That's just what it comes out to, right? The early stuff was good, and
but you can still do that though. He can still write. He can still do that. Unless, like Eric said, Eric thinks he's basically. He has writer's block and he can't do anything anymore, which I guess emotionally I can see that.
Well, that's why he wants 3 writers and 3 artists because he can't write it right now. He can't write the ref book. Remember, the ref book went from being written to being, I'm going to dictate it into my digital recorder and then give it to somebody else to write down my word. And then from that, we're going to edit it into something fairly, maybe possibly coherent, and that'll be the ref book. And I think the 4 of us could do that.
I hope he makes a comeback. I really do, because this guy, he's got that crazy genius thing going on. You know what I mean? Like he's got that weird kind of out there-ness that he could pull it off. He could pull himself out of the ashes and do something. For the sake of just freak guy, he's a decent enough guy. I don't want to see nobody fail. I hope he does all right. I'm still pissed at the ref book, but I hope he does all right. But he just got to get his shit together. And, if your ship is off course and you got a storm ahead, turn the fuck around, man. Go back to the safe harbor. Go back to the stuff that's going to make you money and keep you safe. And at least for a little bit, his rules are some of the best OSR rules out there. Second, I think only, there's you guys, Swords and Wizardry, Lamentations, Old School Essentials, and Ash.
Well, that they create. I mean,
Four
like I
best
said,
rule
I mean,
sets.
he created a genre, and
Yeah.
you know, it's cool that other people want to play in his sandbox, so to speak. But I think he needs to make the comeback. And I mean, I was thinking something else. He also did "Fuck for Satan," which I thought was it's an interesting read. I mean, it actually it's not a TPK either. It's very weird. It's a very, very weird adventure, and then the whole adventure is a red herring. But yeah, I mean, that's something he did that he could do. So, I mean, yes, it's called what it's called. So, you know, he admits he names things provocatively just so people will pick it up, like she bleeds or, you know, whatever. Vaginas are magic. I mean, whatever. I mean, he does that on purpose. He's admitted it. You know, but whatever works.
Stern,
that
works.
Yeah, if it works, it works. But there's some good stuff out there. He just needs to go back to what got him there. You know. I mean, Paul McCartney, he's been successful for 50, 60 years, not because he didn't start doing doom metal and he didn't start rapping because he's not a rapper or doom metal guy. Yeah. He just said, you know, he writes pop songs. He just stick with this, and he's made tons of money over the years. Yes, Wings isn't as good as Beatles, and, you know, whatever he's doing now isn't as good as Wings, but, you know, he's yeah, shock value can only sell so much. I think that's true because he does have his very loyal group of fans, but beyond that, he hasn't expanded that much. At least not recently. And look, I have a look here. If you want my solution, James, here's what it is. Just get back with Zach, and everybody's going to hate you, but they already hate you. They already hate you.
The people that are going to hate you already do.
There are people who already hate you. And just be the bad guy. Be the bad guy. Say, yeah, I'm going to do something with Zach, and have Zach write something, and you and Zach do something together, and just do it. And yeah, you'll get so much publicity, and you'll get all the people who don't like you already yelling about you that you won't even have to buy any publicity. You'll get it all, you know. And then just go back to doing what you do best and write an interesting adventure.
Right. You don't need drive-through to sell it because. You can sell the PDFs on your site. Mm-hmm. That's fine. And you can sell a book on your site. You have it built. You raise $100,000 over the summertime doing these sales, you know, for books. So you know you have the built-in market. Smaller publishers without the following need drive-through to make their sales. James does not. So, and like I said, the people that are going to complain about James working with Zach are the same ones that are complaining about James even though he's not working with Zach, because you're still going to be considered an enabler.
They're not buying his stuff anyway. They're not buying his stuff now. Why would he care about making them angrier? They're already not buying his stuff.
Right.
I think he's done too much. Like, he did this little tiptoe through the tulips thing when, you know, what was it? Zach is not in this book, and Zach did not
write this book.
Why tiptoe around it anymore? Just embrace it and say, look, you know, I'm still friends with Zach, and so I'm going to do a book with him. And if you don't like it, tough luck. I mean, it's like he's trying to please people on Twitter, and we found out in our lives that, you know, there's no percentage in trying to make people on Twitter happy. It's not going to help you one single bit to make people on Twitter happy, because they're not. They're all lunatics. So you can't really make them happy. So James could tomorrow just tell people that, look, I am going to burn every copy of anything Zach ever did, and I am going to totally renounce him, and I will never work with him again. He's an awful person. And I'm going to, not only that, I'm going to burn everything I ever published, and I'm going to start over again from scratch, and I'm going to write generic D&D adventures. And you know what? They'd still hate him, and they would find something he did wrong. It didn't matter. These are people that doesn't matter what you do.
Right. I mean, that is, and the thing is, once you're on that list, you don't get off it. You can't. I mean, even when Stacy was customer relations for Lamentations, and said Lamentations of Flame Princess is not OSR. You know what? People ignored her because we're getting an echo.
Yeah, it's It's not me. I just checked picture and everything on.
I mute when I'm not.
Because I heard my voice. I heard my voice, but I hear my voice in my nightmares. So.
I mute when I don't talk, so I don't think.
Maybe I just need to mute.
I don't know.
Hello? Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Whoever watches this next week, this is what live broadcasting is, folks.
That's why people enjoy it, because we don't edit, we don't rewind, we don't say, all right, time out, we got to refix this shit.
We don't edit. Yeah, editing would make it really pretty. Well, we could have a nice show if we edited it, man. Take out all the dead air and all the weird stuff and all the cursing.
You take the weird stuff and cursing out. It's a 30-second video. What are you talking about?
What?
Oh, we were saying, Glenn, that if we took out all the cursing and all the weird fuck ups, it would be a 30-second video.
If that, well, might just be an intro.
Oh God.
Well, anyway, that was an interesting video. I remember I was watching it, and it's 17 minutes long, and 3 minutes into it, I was like, "Dear God!"
Can hear you.
Oh, we can't.
We can hear you.
What, Glenn? Are you having technical issues?
I think this might be Glenn oriented.
Glenn, can you hear us? We can hear folks at home. I'm tapping. We can hear you, but you can't hear us.
We might have to edit this for this one. This might be our first edited.
No. We're just gonna leave this.
I just got. Is Glenn? I don't. Glenn. Oh dear.
Yes, Glenn.
He's got a delay.
Yeah, it's gotta be
now. Yeah, it's just. This is bizarreness, folks.
Plus, I noticed that if we talk, if Glenn is speaking, any of us speak, it cuts him right out. I don't know why.
Yes, Glenn. Can you hear me now?
Oh,
wow.
Oh
okay.
No. Now he's froze.
He's frozen.
It's he's frozen cryogenically. He's cryogenically frozen.
Can you hear me?
Oh, now we can hear you. But your video
Glenn,
is.
Can you, there he goes.
Why does it Glenn come back and not use video? I wonder if video.
That's probably the best bet. It's probably
because if he's using a little handheld or something, it might be too much.
It might
be too much.
Might be heavy. Might be. Because Glenn has been very laggy, almost like a raggy. Sorry.
Anyway, so what I was saying is I'm watching this 17-minute video. I'm 3 minutes into it, going, "Dear God, there's 14 more minutes." But yeah, so that was interesting. I hope Raggy succeeds, and I hope he does well. But I don't know what his plan is. I don't. What the plan he has is not a very good plan. It's not much of a plan, and I don't think it's going to work. So
I hope he just expands his base and goes back to making models that people want to play. Don't stop the weird shit. I know he doesn't want to get away from the weird shit. He's so invested in the weird shit. But you could have two divisions of your company: weird shit and shit that sells. You know what I mean? That's it. You know, you could call the other division shit that sells and supports the weird shit division. You know, and that could help him out.
His early stuff is, like grinding gear. So the grinding gear is a kind of a killer dungeon, but it's weird, but not really gross, over the top, crazy weird. It's basically a dungeon by a guy who made it to kill adventurers. Yeah, and so, that's the hook. There's no necessarily over the top monsters. There's no sexual stuff. I mean, it's just that. No, so just make stuff, but it's interesting. It's different. You know, and it's a fun little hook. So do more stuff like that. Do stuff that has a fun little hook, but doesn't have to be, gross or over the top, just to be over the top. You know, it's like a metal band sitting there going, our metal stuff's great. So now we're going to start biting the heads off bats. Oh wait, Ozzy did that. So
Glenn, why don't you try turning off your video? Because Glenn, turn off your video. Can you hear me now? Try without video. There we go. Now let's see if this works. Now can you hear us? Glenn?
Well, hello. So much
Can
for
you
being
hear
a
us?
YouTube star.
You don't have a face for video anyway.
Yes.
All right, so now you can hear us.
I can
Before
hear
it
me
was like,
laughing too.
yeah, this is much better. That's okay. You know, Joe doesn't
You
have
guys
a,
are all
a
delayed
video.
to me.
Well, no, dude, we were fine. The delay is on your side, but yes, you're better now that you have the video turned off.
That's when I hit the whiskey.
Yeah, you just tilted it all the way back, didn't you, there, Mike?
Yeah, this is that kind of night. It's just that kind of night.
I was trying to.
Oh God.
This is like Tavern Chat.
Except
I
it's like
just
you
shut
chat,
up until I get a chance to speak.
but you're like way back in the tunnel,
More
like,
than anybody.
yelling at us.
God.
Oh my!
Well, I'm trying to remind Eric the contest.
What contest?
Contest?
Oh,
Eric.
that's
Hello?
right. You have a giveaway.
Oh,
Can you hear us?
yeah.
Yes, which I can't show now because I don't have video.
What's he giving away? Maybe
Hold on a second.
I have a copy of something back here. This is,
Is it Rob Connolly's
Connolly.
thing?
Yeah.
Wait a
Majestic
minute.
Wildlands.
Nice.
I
I
do
got
have a copy right
but
here somewhere. I don't. It's not here.
Yeah, my copy is not where. It's in the midst of
It's a digest size book. It's awesome. It's by Rob
Yeah.
Connolly. That's all you need to know. It's Rob
He
Connolly.
just held it up. Yeah, anything Rob Connolly puts out, you gotta
Yeah.
just get it. Just get it.
Well, hey, somebody sent me an extra hard copy.
Ooh.
So I wanted to give it away on the show.
Where's my hard copy, Rob? What the hell?
You don't count, Mike. You don't have
count that bit much. I guess back in that project doesn't help.
There you go.
Mine is on the way. I know that.
Okay, folks, I'm giving away a Bad Mike's copy of
That's what happened to it.
All right. So how do you want to get this?
Island.
That's an inside joke. Yeah, I still remember Blood Island.
Anyway,
Yeah. It's still
all right,
there.
so Glenn, how do you want to do this, Glenn?
Eric will tell you how you can win Bad Mike's copy of the Majestic Fantasy RPG.
I will tell you how you can get a copy sent to you. You know what? And Glenn will sign it. Now, Glenn did not write it, but Glenn did do artwork in it. So actually, Glenn, you can sign the picture, the artwork that you did.
That means I can sign it. I'll sign it on my artwork.
Yes. You'll sign it when you did the art.
Signatures on there.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty cool. So you could say you have a signed copy of this.
Anyway.
See now I'm gonna have to go over to I used to have dice on my desk, but then the cat decided that she liked the dice on my desk. So I don't know where the hell the dice on my desk are. God damn it! There they are. All right. So and I've already been told that my method sucks and it's not truly random because it doesn't. I like this. Chances are Mike says Glenn has a face for radio, and Glenn gives away Mike's copy of the book. That is.
Roll the die.
Should we roll a d20 and just count backwards from the last comment?
Good enough.
Good idea.
All right. So who shall roll it? Shall I roll it?
Go ahead,
man.
I don't have any 20s nearby.
I got a d20. Here's my Dollar Tree d20.
You have die.
Yeah, this is the I think it's called Ship Brown, and because I think that is the most appropriate color. All right, now we're gonna count back 6, but we're going to skip. If you've commented more than once in a row, we're gonna skip one. You're gonna skip any comment beyond 1. So Shadzar 1, Greg 2, Shadzar 3, Greg 4, Shadzar 5, Vauban 666. Greg, come on down. You are the next contestant on Glenn Hallstrom has your fucking book. It has Mike's book, but now it's going to be your book. Congratulations, Greg.
I probably have a PDF for this somewhere that I haven't downloaded. I'm terrible about downloading PDFs. I probably have 30 of them just sitting there.
So, Greg, you can message me. I guess probably via Discord would be easiest for you, and give me a mailing address because I'm too lazy to look it up. I got it somewhere.
Who is Vauban? Who is Vauban?
Who's Vauban? It's Greg.
Greg who?
What Greg knows?
That's what I'm wondering. How the hell does he know about Blood Island? I don't know who's this guy. I don't recognize the picture. It must be.
Who was the first DM we had as a group together?
Yeah. All right. Well, not me actually. I came in a little late.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you came in later. But in any case, yeah.
All right. Cool, man. Good to see you, Greg. I know you said he was listening.
You should have counted my comments like I won my copy back. I'm gonna write an angry letter to Rob Conley because he's not going in alphabetical order when he mails these. Obviously, Battle Auto's way before Glenn Hallstrom.
No. Glenn got a review copy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he does that review shtick. I forgot about that. That's a good shtick. You know, we don't do reviews, Eric. Damn it, we don't get any freebies out of this.
No, we don't. We don't do it. I will review. I got to review Rob stuff. I got to review Swords and Wizardry. Now, I'd love to review the full Swords and Wizardry game, including the player's book. But theoretically and technically, I don't have a PDF copy of the player's book to review. But if I did, I tell you that it looks pretty good and it clears up some things that I thought could use some clearing up. But I'm not saying. I'm just saying, but I'm not saying because it hasn't released yet. So I couldn't have a copy. Theoretically, I might not or have not. I can't say. And Mike certainly had nothing to do with anything that might be involved here because Mike is too honest a man. I had to go through this.
Thank you. That's true.
Well, yeah, but I backed it too. Backed it too.
I think Glenn's possessed.
So you got to cozy up. You got to cozy up to people like Glenn Steele and your
Glenn, the only person in this room that I cozy up to is Mike in the booth. Okay, because we got to keep warm at like Gary Con. So the two bears have to stay close for body warmth. That was a really bad joke, and I apologize to Mike for saying that.
I'll live.
You can tell Eric's talking. Everyone's confused.
Everyone's confused. Thank you, Tim. Tim, just you wait, Tim, because I have an idea to bounce off you that's gonna give you work. All right? And you probably won't be able to say no because it's probably a good idea. But
Duck,
take a step back when I volunteer you for this. All right.
Hey, Mike, when is the Swords and Wizardry box set coming out? We talked about it before.
Probably about May. Everything is very delayed this year.
Yeah,
because
COVID,
of we can just blame COVID forever.
It's like Becky handing me a birthday card. Here, say something nice.
But no, we have everything was backed up from the minute COVID happened because China has everything's printed in China, all the big stuff, and so I don't even know when it will ever get caught up. Probably about a year or so. Yeah. They're finally gonna get caught up, but we should be seeing around May or June, I believe. Cool. It's already available. The PDF, I believe, is finished.
I think I got the players, but I got the players without the DMs, I believe.
Well,
no. I think I got from my mailing my code for the Frog God site got me everything but the players.
Immune to my charm.
Nobody's immune to your charm. We just don't.
I probably would have been offended.
But anyway, I believe that the player's book is the one outstanding book right now.
Send me a name and address.
I'll get you Greg's name and address. You'll have it be before the sun doth rise. We will take care of that. if I have to go through,
Just send me a name and
Christmas
address.
cards,
I'll get it out to him.
Yeah, not a problem.
Hey, I got a really dumb question, but since you're here, I know you guys could answer this thing. I'm still confused about this because I'm not up on the whole who's who and everything. You know, I barely know anybody. What the hell is with Necromancer Games? Who are they under? Are they part of you guys? Or
Necromancer Games is a offshoot of Frog God Games, and what Necromancer is for publishing older stuff, republishing all the older Necromancer stuff, and also for more one shots that don't happen in the Lost Land. Frog God Games is more of the Lost Lands publisher. So anything Frog God Games publishes will be a Lost Lands publication. Anything Necromancer publishes is anything Necromancer publishes will be more of a one shot, not necessarily happening in the Lost Lands. Or it'll be one of the reprints of one of our earlier adventures that 20 year ago. Like I think this year we have Gary Gygax's Necropolis coming out for 5e.
Gotcha.
That I'm pretty sure that's going to be.
No, that's me.
No, that's going to be Lost. That'll be Lost Lands actually. I think it. Well, I don't know. Let me check. I have to check on that one. I thought it might have been Necromancer.
I backed the Tome of Alchemy you guys put out. That Max got him Potion Creation for 5e. Dude, that's the best freaking book on that topic I've ever seen. It's awesome. What's his name?
That was Courtney.
Courtney Campbell did a lot of that work, but we had some other people in there too. So
it's excellent. I mean, I've looked at all the various things that have been put out on this subject since second edition. You know, herbs and poisons and magic items and all this stuff. And you guys found a way to put all of that crap into one book and make it accessible, make it make sense, make it broad enough that it's interesting. It's fantastic. I got the PDF of it. I'm loving it. I can't wait to get that in person too. But that's Necromancer. You know, that's what brought the question. You know, that's a Necromancer Games thing, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, because it's not specifically Lost Land. So yeah, that'd be Necromancer definitely.
Yeah. No, that's excellent. That's excellent. And like I said, it's for 5e and Pathfinder, but it works for anything. You can play it with any. It's easily convertible from 5e or Pathfinder to any system. You know, so that's awesome. Yeah. So you got a couple things I'm looking forward to getting from you guys soon.
Necromancer predates Frog God Games, and it was only in the last year or two that Frog God was able to get full possession of Necromancer.
Right. Well, actually, yeah, because it was Necromancer. The name was co-owned by Clark Peterson and Bill Webb, and we actually bought it from Clark last year.
Gotcha.
So now we own 100% everything Necromancer, and yes, and so yeah, it's it's good to diversify. We ask a lot of people ask us, why do you do Indiegogo and Kickstarter? Why not just do everything on Kickstarter? Well, it's good to diversify. It really is, because if nothing else, we've seen during last year things can happen that aren't good. Like we do all our printing in China, except for our Indiegogos, which are printed in Arizona. Well, look what happened last year. China printing shut down for a month. Yet our Indiegogos were able just to keep rolling out because all that printing was done locally in the United States and Arizona. It's not. I don't think it's good to suicide and do everything. Put all your eggs in one basket, and that's the way our company's been running now for the last few years. Is we're trying to diversify. We're trying not to become dependent on any one writer, any one artist, any one system. And so we're going to have different imprints, that just do different things. Frog God for Lost Lands and Necromancer for other things, and that's why we also do Indiegogos and Kickstarters.
Yeah, I backed 1975 in Indiegogo just recently. The reprint of that one.
That was not. I just got. Well, I got my copy a while back. It's right up here somewhere. But yeah, I like the remake of that. The Grimsgate was really good. They did a great job of doing the updating of that. And I don't play 5th edition, but it's good that 5th edition is around because it's causing us to reprint a lot of our older products like Grimsgate that had been out of print for a long, long time, and that are really, really good products. We just that we were sold out, and we didn't want to make another printing. So the Indiegogo allows us to do a whole nother printing of it.
Well, I recently backed the Castles and Crusades thing that they did for I think it was the Player's Handbook or whatever. And for 5e, And they're along with that, you could add on whatever you want. And I backed that, and I picked up all their old modules that they converted, because they have the same 10 or 15 modules they've been putting out for years now, and they converted them over to 5e. I bought them all. I bought like the mega package basically, so I got the whole conversion for 5e, all their modules, and the Castle Keeper's Guide and the Player's Handbook, and and the Aired, their whole setting thing. I'm looking forward to getting that too, because I've never honestly had all the Castles and Crusades stuff. I had a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but now I'm going to get it all in one fell swoop. So I really appreciate when Kickstarters do that. It's like, oh, here's a new Kickstarter, but if you want, you can buy all the old stuff along with this Kickstarter, add it in, and wham, you got everything, the whole collection all at one time.
Yeah, I like the Castle Crusade stuff too. I've read a lot of it. I don't think any of it's spectacular, but none of it's bad either. It's all playable. It's all really good playable stuff.
Yep, it's old-fashioned AD&D style, decent enough to run at your game night stuff.
Yep,
you know what I mean? Yeah. That's not a criticism. I think that's a good compliment. If I could grab a module off the shelf because I'm tired and work sucked and I didn't get time to prepare because whatever the hell happened, and I got a half an hour to read a fucking module, and I could read this intro and I could look at the box text and I could get it going and before the game, I'm happy as a pig and shit. That's perfect. That's just what I'm looking for sometimes, That's just what I'm looking for. Easily converted over stuff.
I hear you. I'm exactly the same way when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm happy. I'm looking forward to back to a bunch of Kickstarters, and I'm looking forward to getting. I have a whole blank shelf and a half next to me because of all the Kickstarters that are due to come in. I had a boring summer with COVID, so it's going to be coming in over the spring and summer this year.
Well, I've backed way too many zine quests, but can you really back too many zines? I still have those boxes I got years ago on a Kickstarter that were meant to hold zines, and now I'm gonna have to pull them off my shelf to actually use them.
To hold the zines, yeah.
I mean, which was good because it means I have empty boxes on a shelf that will now actually hold stuff. So I'm not gonna lose any space. The space was already being taken up. So
nobody can complain. Hey, they're valuable now. They're useful. Can't throw them out.
and after COVID, because I always. I've meant to do this when we get together again and we do our trip down to the Complete and then hit a bar afterwards. I have some 5e stuff from I think last TotalCon that was sent back for me to possibly review. And I don't do 5e. You do 5e, so that would be pretty useful for you. So your next trip to Complete, you might come back with more than you expect.
All right, and I'll bring my car. It's easier.
Well, there you go. Well, if you're gonna bring your car, just come out to Queens, and we'll just load your car up right from the start.
That's cool.
God,
it's easier to drive in New York City now, right? I mean, there's nobody there. Christ,
dude, I've driven through Manhattan, and it's compared to the old Manhattan traffic on a weekend, it's like a ghost town.
Yeah. I see the video cameras. It looks like Hartford. Christ.
What's weird in Texas is, we've had all the tons of electricity out, once in a generation snowfall, water pipes bursting.
Yeah.
And so today was really the first nice day. It was above freezing for the first time in about a week and a half. So everybody got out. The restaurants were open. The fast foods were open. And so what do I see today? Everywhere I go, there's line. I mean, this is the first thing people do when they finally get out. There's lines at McDonald's 50 cars long. What the hell? What the hell are people doing? Well, I mean, they just need a Big Mac that bad. I'm going to wait in line 50 cars long after I've been locked up for 6 days because Big Macs are that big. They're that good. They're not that good. Don't do it.
Well, these are people that probably, food spoiled because they didn't put it outside.
Food comes in cans. You have cans of soup. You have frozen food. You could have put your frozen food outside. We had a neighbor ask us that. She said, my electricity's out. Can I put food in your freezer? And I pointed outside. I'd say it's 10 degrees outside. Get a cooler. Put your cooler on your back porch. Oh, yeah, that would work. Yes, it would work.
Funny.
Yes.
It's in there.
It's like when I see Florida, I love it when I see a Florida snowstorm because all you're gonna see is assholes crashing into everything. It looks like a demolition derby scene throughout the entire state of Florida. It's funny as hell.
Do you remember a couple years ago? I know this happened to Greg in Georgia. Georgia had like an ice storm, and I believe Greg.
I remember that. I remember that. That was.
He had abandoned his car pretty much and like walk home. Was it 2 miles or something like that? And I could picture it. And I've driven through an ice storm, and because I had no choice. It was up in the Poconos, and it's like if I don't, I'm going to be losing a day of work because literally it's a Sunday. I got to go, and I can only wait so long. And it was white knuckle driving at 30 miles per hour for about 20, 25 miles. Until we started going downhill. And going downhill, by the way, was great and not great. It was awesome. I'm going to go downhill, so the temperature is going to rise. So therefore, the ice storm, because it's right at the freezing point, should turn to like rain and wet roads, not icy roads. Only problem is I'm going down one of those deep declines or inclines where it gives that warning. Tractor trailers, put your truck in gear 20 miles per hour. And you're looking at that, and you're like, oh, wow, I guess this is a pretty steep. I hope it and steep and windy. I'm just like, oh, okay, I got traction again. I'm no longer sliding away. So that was like 10 years ago. I remember giving the keys to Chris, who had a learner's permit at that point. When we got out of the ice storm, I'm like, you're driving. He's like, I got a learner's permit. I goes, I don't drive in New Jersey. We're going to be in New Jersey. And like, I'm like, exactly. You're driving because I can't.
Hey,
I
worn out, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, Greg was like, the problem with that big snowstorm was that they canceled schools at like 11 a.m. So everyone went out on the road at once.
Oh no!
And they were stuck in traffic, not moving, and the ice formed under them.
Bad deal.
Jesus.
Yes, Glenn.
Hey. Oh, have I got that bad a delay?
Yes.
Yes.
We are
Apparently you are.
We're averaging 4 to 10 degrees here. All our pipes are okay except for the ones going to the washer, which are frozen. So we can't do any laundry.
At least they haven't cracked. I mean, that's why up in the Poconos.
I hope.
Well, at my parents' house, when we, we're up there maybe for a week or a weekend or whatever in the winter, and you leave, it's turn off the water that leads into the house, pour antifreeze down every sink and the toilet, and then he set the temperature to 45, and then antifreeze down the pipes. Antifreeze down the pipes. And actually, it's like an RV antifreeze that they use in RVs for their I guess sewer system or whatever. Because Poconos will go down to -10, -15, and you just don't want to take that chance. I mean, I remember as a kid going up there when my grandfather had the house, and you get up there and there'd be icicles off the ceiling because he just turned the heat off. And I think the pipes broke one year, and then after that, when my parents inherited the house, like we're leaving the heat at a minimal level that's going to be above freezing, and it's better than paying for burst pipes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
God.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey,
we were
guys,
definitely
I'm going to have to drop. I got to get up super stupid early in the morning. So I'm going to try to hit it early today.
That's
okay?
Well, we're going to be bouncing at ourselves.
we're good to close this down. Probably it's been 2
okay.
hours.
Okay.
Yeah, it's almost 2 hours.
I'm not sick of this. Sick of this lag.
Poor Glenn. Glenn's like, God dang these young whippersnappers.
It's not only the lag, Glenn. It's your choppy whenever it does speak. So we get a syllable.
Week, so.
Gee. I'm
sorry,
going to
therapy next week, so it's okay.
That's well. All right. Well, and hopefully.
Anyway, good night, folks.
Good night, Glenn.
Folks.
Later, Glenn.
Well, in any case, I want to thank Stephen and Angelia for coming into the chat today, giving us a little info and a little inside information on TotalCon, and thank them for letting us do this 4 nights in a row in support of TotalCon. because we wish we were there physically. We can't be, so we got to do this. Thanks from all four of us. You know us all. You love us all. You could hate me. I understand that. Waving. Glenn's waving in the dark. At least he's not dancing in the dark. It's probably best for that. Folks, as we have touched upon, we are still in the midst of the world of COVID. We are not medical professionals, not even Glenn, who may have played one on a stage at one time. However, use your common sense. You wouldn't throw that fireball in a 10x10 room at the Dragon that I put in there because I was 13 years old. Dragons fit into 10x10 rooms. But the blowback that I read about in like issue 66 of Dragon magazine, you say you have common sense, you wouldn't have thrown it. Well, use your common sense when it comes to COVID. All right, that's all I'm saying. Be safe, be well, God bless. You still have a day and a half left of TotalCon, so enjoy it. And we'll be back
tomorrow night. Eric and I will be back tomorrow night with, I hate to say it, with Zach Glazer.
With Zach Glazer. And then Monday night, Mike and I are going to be making a guest appearance on God Damn It, Zach. But we don't say God Damn It, Zach. We're going to say
GG, Zach. We do now.
And we'll be the playthings of Zach and Skeeter. So
more like a plaything of Skeeter, if you know Skeeter.
Yeah.
Yeah. He could be scary, but he's lovable. He's gonna rub that bald head the right way, and then Skeeter calms down. Be safe, be well, God bless. Roll those dice, folks. And Tim, I'm gonna be annoying you in a day or two about an idea. I will be back again tomorrow with Bad Mike. All right. Laters.
Bye, guys.